Alright. So the patch notes for 1.1.1 just dropped. The patch itself will be here in a couple of hours. But let's just run through them, see what we got. Yeah, the first bit is just jargon, nothing actually. There, the first and highly requested feature that we got is here, quick move.
Quick move. Quick move is here. This optional setting allows you to disable the movement animations for your units, making gameplay faster. This is off by default and can be toggled by selecting the option in game settings.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge, especially if you're warring later on. Sometimes the movement is what takes the most if you're spam clicking. And well, it's not saying quick combat because the game actually has quick combat, but without the faster animations, it might seem it's not quick combat. But you can pre-stage your attack, so that's huge. Because now, as you can see, they just instantly teleport where they should go. And later on, if you're having 100 units you need to move, that's a lot of movement. So yeah, +1 for that.
Map generation. As we work to add some more flavor and variety to maps in Civ 7, we've added in a brand new start position option as the default, called Standard. This option is closer to what players will remember from Civilization 6, where continents have a bit more variety and are less predictable. The existing start position method is now called Balanced and can be selected again at any point in advanced options. Balanced will remain the default option in multiplayer games. We have plenty more planned for map variety, generation, and new maps, including larger maps, so stay posted and keep letting us know what you want to see.
Huge, maybe not the actual standard bit, like we just got one more option. But why it's huge is because this allows, or it means that in the future we're gonna be having more of these. And one of them is my favorite, for sure, Legendary Star. That just promotes tall play. And yeah, obviously for MP players, the balanced one to keep it, not changing the default one and not giving the old one. That'd be dumb. But giving the options as any starting variable options. They're great for those who likes to like Civ City the whole game. But yeah, also we got teasers for larger maps. That's a feature I'm looking forward to for sure. But yeah, gotta...
Settlement and commander renaming. Your creativity has no bounds, and now the same applies to your settlement and commander unit names. You can now choose to rename them by clicking the pen icon in the upper right-hand corner of their menus. Whether you're role-playing a historical empire, naming cities after your best friends, or for the utilitarians among us, naming things functionally based on their status and benefits, we hope you enjoy the freedom to choose.
I will for sure. If you got like 10 commanders, all as 5, 6, 7 upgrades, you can rename them based on the tree you've got with them, so you know which is which, or just give them cool names, of course. Then renaming cities, you get a Petra, you should rename that Petra, obviously. But on top of that, renaming so you'll remember things in the future, like if you want to be specializing towns, naming them accordingly will then help you to unlock resources and that jazz. If you're settling useless towns that you'll trade to the AI, you can rename those. Trade this, trade this, trade this, right? Because if you're playing some random civ and the names are all a language you don't understand, it's quite hard to remember which city is which, and which was the one you were supposed to give, which was the one that had the negative buffs. But yeah, actual units can be renamed, but I think that ain't so important here because you can't give any promotions to units anymore. Yeah.
Choose. UI improvements. We're adding polish, no, not the Edwiga kind, the UI kind. With 1.1.1, we've made several UI changes as a part of an ongoing effort to improve the UI in-game. Here are a few highlights. Improve unit flag and health bar visibility. We've made even more health bar readability improvements, now visible in the unit panel. We've also increased the weight on settlement health bars to make them stand out more from the surrounding buildings. Improved plot tooltips.
This I actually saw already at the live stream, the dev live stream. It's actually quite a bit more legible, the unit health. Before, you could see probably that, okay, it's red, but it'd be red at this stage, which, okay, it's kind of red, but red means 20 when they're gonna have no combat efficiency, and you just want to quickly move them back so you won't lose them. That's a good update as well.
We've improved the tooltip on plots to include how many specialists are assigned and are still possible to assign. New district.
Yeah, this is huge as well, because before this, kind of the only place where you could actually see the specialists in a given city is when they grow and you're slotting in another specialist. So it's in certain situations it's quite hard to plan out the whole city, because you can only see the city plan when it's growing.
District under attack notification. You're now alerted when your district's under attack with a notification, which we hope means less surprises when you go to check up on your settlements.
Yeah, this is huge as well, because last game I had, I lost 4 cities in 3 turns because there was a huge war. I was focusing just on the main continent. I lost all of my treasure islands in modern age, and there was no tooltips, no nothing. I mean, notifications. But I'll say the notification system isn't that in your face. There are small icons on the right. I hardly ever look at them, but that'll help for sure. Maybe I'll not lose them settlements anymore, because that again means a reload in most cases. So it'll just make the whole experience more fluid.
Settlements. New trade lens and ability to send merchants from lens. You can now see your available trade routes by triggering a new lens on off via the lens panel. You can also send merchants directly to cities from the panel in any age, but remember, in those earlier ages, you still have to start the route when you get there.
This is kind of awfully worded. I'm not sure what this means here, but the live stream showed that you can click the trade here. It'll open up the trade menu, and from there you can click somewhere, and the merchant will then, I'm not sure if they'll go and walk there, or if you've already had a trade route with them in a previous age, you'll just open up create the trade route there. But that's good, because merchants can be a lot of micromanagement later on in the exploration and the modern era, because you do want all the merchants you can slot in. So that'll just help that. Less micro, always better.
There. Age progress now shows turns remaining until crises. No more surprise crises. New pips have been added to the age progress wheel in the HUD to show when crisis will trigger/escalate.
I mean, this is fine enough. This is actually quite good. I don't play with crisis usually. They're a bit buggy, or they break a game. They'll take your settlement, convert it to an enemy town, destroy all the wonders. The one does that. It ain't fun to me, but there are a few builds. There are a few builds that require the legacy options you get from Crisis. So I'll probably try out Crisis this next game. But again, I like them because they can really murk your whole build if the wrong Crisis comes up. At least now you know it better when they come. They just won't come at you.
Escalate. Restart button. Rerollers rejoice. We've added a new restart button that can be used within the first few turns of a new game to restart the map with your exact same game settings and civ/leader choices. Note that restart will not be available in certain situations, like when you've already undergone an age transition or during a network multiplayer game.
This feature was requested heavily. I like it a lot. Remember in Civ 5 I used to do a lot of Civ City, and yeah, in order in order to get the ultimate Venice, it has to be a desert coastal start. So you can get both the Colossus and the Petra. And you want the desert to be filled with resources, because desert tiles are not that good on their own in 5. I'm just talking about 5. But the same applies here. You want the ultimate Petra, you'll be hitting that a lot. So, I mean, it's kind of cheesing, I know, but still, so many people want that. It's good they brought it back. Yeah.
Game.
These are just the highlights, so be sure to check out the full list of UI improvements in the update notes below.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah, we got Mount Everest as well. +2 happiness, +2 influence, +2 culture. This one I like. Reveals all the mountain styles on your continent when discovered. I just like that. That'll give you so much information if you spawn next to the Everest. So yeah, it's a good natural wonder, even not settled on by. 2 happiness is good, 2 influence, 2 culture. Some natural wonders that don't give out growth can be quite bad in taking them, because if you grow onto the natural wonder straight up, you won't have the food to actually grow the city after it. But yeah, now we got the actual patch notes here. So let's see.
Modern Age pacing and balance. We've made a number of changes to help the modern age last a bit longer, so that players have more space to enjoy all the unique gameplay in that age. Eliminating a player no longer adds age progress in modern, and the amount of age progress added in exploration has been halved, so that domination victories are easier to achieve now.
Yeah, that's actually good. So if you're playing continents, you first mobilize, then you take out 1 or 2 ops. The air is gonna be ending. So okay, you could still go on in modern and win the game that way. But it's good that they're balancing out the eras, as that was one of my original critiques, that it seems out of place. There's no pacing in the game that makes sense. All you gotta do is focus on the last turn of each era and the first turn of each era. But now they're balancing it out over time, which is good.
Now.
Modern techs and civic costs have been increased by roughly 25% overall, more heavily weighted on nodes deeper in the trees.
Yeah, that's cool. That just means everything is more expensive, which means that'll promote gameplay or builds that are not specifically science or culture based. Like if you got a gold build going on, even though you're not going for the gold victory, the railroad tycoon victory, let's actually get that through first.
We've made a number of changes around railroad tycoon gameplay. Factory cost increased from 600 to 1400. Port cost increased from 550 to 1200. Rail station cost increased from 650 to 1200. Coal resource changed from 100% production bonus towards rail stations to 10% production bonus towards rail stations and ports. The existing 100% bonus was not functioning as intended. Oil resource now also gives a 10% production bonus towards factories.
So that's a huge rework, actually, which is a good rework, because Railroad Tycoon DC was quite easy. All you needed to do is get up your factories and rail station, just buy them. This is on standard speed. And hammers, right? So that'll be like what? 16k? 16k gold on marathon. But if you need 10 factories, it's like 100k, or more than that, because you'll need rail stations and or maybe even the ports as well. So that'll just balance the things out. I've not seen the AI actually win the Railroad Tycoon victory. Yeah, there's something based on the influence derived cost of actually popping up your great banker. The AI usually don't go for that, which means you can go for it quite easily. This will balance things out, which is nice, which is actually nice. But yeah, these are just bug fixes disguised as feature updates. But it's good. It's good. I like it. I like it a lot.
Factories. Your military advisor will now warn you if you don't have enough commanders to retain all of your units when an age is ending. Map generation has been improved and players can now choose between 2 start position options, standard and balanced, in advanced setup.
Yeah, that we went through. This is actually good. It wasn't clear what you gotta be doing, but at least now it's in your face. You gotta have them slots in your generals. Otherwise, you're gonna be losing units. Nobody wants to see that, right? Then we got some balances for our leaders and civs. Alright, about the modern age. If that is roughly 25% overall, which means the last one will take 50 and the first one will take 0 more. So now academies and museums have a way more way. So those are quite possibly the only ones you should be going: natural history and whatever unlocked academies in the modern era, because those will be probably as cheap as before, but now you need overall so much more. You gotta get them online as fast as possible. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the modern era now, because it felt like half of the time or half of the turns you'd use for any other era, especially on long ages.
Leaders and civs. Leaders. Ashoka, World Conqueror. Devaraja unique ability combat bonus changed from +10 against fortified districts during celebrations to +5 against fortified districts during celebrations.
Great balance +10 is just OP, even if it's during celebration. You'll still +10 against fortified districts. That means you're just gonna roll over them. Someone uses this, you got no counter against them. +5, you can get +5 from other sources.
Celebrations. Confucius. Playing as Confucius now correctly unlocks the Qing in the modern age.
These are the best, because imagine you doing a full China build and then you don't have the Qing. You've been playing 2 eras for nothing. So these fixes are
Age.
Lafayette. +1 combat strength per tradition slotted is no longer doubled in distant lands. Changed +2 culture and happiness per age in settlements, doubled in distant lands, to +1 culture and happiness per age in settlements, doubled in distant lands.
I'm not sure why they're nerfing Lafayette. I never saw them as that powerful, but it could be in some MP situations it'd be OPS. But yeah, Lafayette's been a kind of a joke for me. He's never been good. I mean, he just has that face you want to be warring against anyway.
Lands.
Civs.
Buganda. Buganda's Nyanza civic now applies to full hex buildings, e.g. aerodrome.
What a full hex building means is a building that takes the both of the slots for a building when you build it. So it needs its own hex. So yeah, that's a good one.
Aerodrome. Crossroads of the World DLC * Carthage. The bonus combat strength for Carthage's Numidian cavalry now only gains +1 per unique city resource slotted in the capital.
I heard that's OP. That's so good. Things you don't want to be introducing 2 OP things to some civs or leaders, because then their build, it'll be just stacking those, and you just don't want to do that.
Capital. Hawaii. A Hopi tradition changed from +4 culture on food buildings to +4 food on culture buildings. Ho'okapu tradition changed from +2 culture on marine terrain to +1 culture on marine terrain. Nalu civic mastery changed from +1 culture on marine terrain in settlements following your religion to +1 happiness on marine terrain in towns following your religion, doubled for cities.
Hawaii got a lot of praise for being OP. I mean, it's OP on archipelago maps for sure. And coming to Maya as well later on, it's good that the saves get balanced now. So you'll actually have a reason to play the worse off saves, and if they're kind of considered cheating at that point anyway if they're OP as fuck. So you'll get no credit for winning a game going Maya, Hawaii, to whatever. Well, the actual changes here for culture and food buildings. Food buildings are usually cheaper than culture buildings. You'll unlock them first. There's more. So for food and culture buildings means there's less overall buffs. The +2 culture and marine terrain anyway, if you stack it up, it'll show. So I kind of like it, but I don't like it in the sense I never played Hawaii properly.
Cities. Crossroads of the World DLC * Great Britain. No Eternal Allies tradition changed from +5% gold in towns, but -5% gold in the capital for every alliance, to +10% food and gold in towns, but -5% gold in the capital for every alliance.
I like the addition of the food. But yeah, it balances out because it's only gold in the capital. So if you got excess money, but you want to grow your towns, there's a few strats where you do this. Anything about food at this point good. It being so nerfed.
Alliance.
Majapa hit. Subac tradition changed from +1 culture and production on marine terrain to +1 culture and production on marine terrain in cities. Gamelan Civic changed from +4 culture on quarters to +2 culture on quarters. Nisantra Civic changed from culture buildings receive a +1 culture adjacency with coast to culture buildings receive a +1 happiness adjacency with coast.
There's another straight up nerf. Like, this may be even too harsh, because now you're forcing a city build. What's a quarter anyway? This means towns as well, right? Okay, that'd be OP, and because usually you get 2 out of it. So now we'll just double the town bonus and give it to cities as well. It was too powerful, I can see. The culture adjacency with coast, again, too much culture. In proportion, way too OP, where you can stack happiness with all civs. But here's the big one, right?
Coast.
Maya.
Uebil Ku quarter production gained change from 15% to 5% of the technology researched. Kuna changed from +4 science to +3 science. The Mundo Perdido wonder now unlocks earlier in the civics tree from calendar round.
So now the focus is on Maya, just rush Mundo Perdido. And 15 to 5, this is a welcome change. Everyone's saying Maya's broken. If you play Maya, that's just basically cheating. This is what broke it with the overflow mechanics, but this on top, it just makes it more balanced, I guess. And now maybe people will just want to play Maya because the Mayans were cool, right? But the Mayan nerf, that's something the game desperately needed. I mean, Maya was banned from MP lobbies anyway. It's not anymore.
Round.
Meiji Japan. The Goishin unique ability now correctly applies the science bonus when overbuilding. Kokutai tradition now correctly applies to all aircraft units.
Right, it's just bug fixes. I mean, Japan seemed a bit weak. It's a good civ, but no wonder it seemed weak if it was bugging already.
Mississippian. The Mississippian tradition, shell-tempered pottery, now applies correctly outside of the Antiquity Age.
Yeah, bug fixes again. I mean, Mississippi was OP already. Now it's even more OP, right?
Age.
Mongolia. Bag hater tradition changed from +5 combat strength for cavalry units to +3 combat strength for cavalry units.
Because on +5 combat strength, that's huge. So, especially with Mongolia, you'd be going for a huge stack of horses anyway. Everyone having a +5 combat strength, that you'll just run over anyone with that, especially if you know how to use your influence correctly. So that's good.
Units. Rum. Legion unit changed from +2 combat strength for every tradition in the government to +1 combat strength for every tradition in the government. Latinitis tradition changed from plus 10% food, gold and culture in towns with a specialization to plus 5% food, gold and culture in towns without a growing town focus.
Wait. Doesn't without a growing town focus mean the same thing as with a specialization? I mean, guess that just means better English, because with a specialization that means a specialist from an earlier age, or could mean, right? So still wonder why they nerfed this, because towns, the meta ain't towns at the moment, so kind of wondering why they nerfed this. Well, this one I understand why they nerf it, because if you play, which one of it was, who gets that free slot, and if you go with the memento as well, you'll get what, plus 10 again. Anything plus 10 is just too OP. Even plus 5 is OP. Combat strength, that is. So yeah, I'll take that. My problem is that just comes in a bit too late again, so it wasn't that powerful. But maybe on online speed multiplayer, yeah, it was real powerful.
Focus. Russia. General Moro's tradition changed from plus 5 combat strength for units in Tundra to plus 3 combat strength for units in Tundra.
Again, plus 5 is OP, so yeah, I'm good with the plus 3 combat strength buffs.
Tundra. Songhai. The Haikoi Civic no longer grants a bonus to units that are not on a navigable river.
Gameplay.
So that's just a bug fix. Alright, so those are the leaders. I think these are all welcome. I mean, I'd wish they buff a bit the worst ones, but I think there's not that much playtesting done with the worst ones, because what people tend to play are the OP ones. Like, everyone's gone through Maya already because they're so OP. Everyone knows about the burning arrows. But then, maybe, let's say Oxum. Maybe it's a bit down, right? I'd like to see them buff that more than just nerfing everything else. But things like the Maya, Hawaii, those nerfs for sure are welcome. Let's see what else we got. This is on gameplay now.
Improved AI scouting and settlement behavior. AI commanders will now correctly gain bonus XP based on difficulty.
Alright, so this here, all like, no more forward settling, or some, but not that much, because they'll do it. If you won't do it, they'll do it. So that's good. They'll promote again more tall place, more turtle place, right? The AI scouting thing, as far as I'm aware, the AI doesn't need to scout. They don't actually, they see through fog of war, but they have conditions if they've seen through the fog of war. So I'm not sure what the scouting behavior means. Maybe that they'll actually use their scouts and not go back and forth with it. But the settlement behavior, that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see, because it was janky at best before that. What else we got? they take better commander promotion choices and just get more XP. Twice the XP now. And prioritizing bonus on combat strength. Oh yeah, that makes sense, because that's what you should do as well. Like, you're either going on the red tree or the green tree, and maybe taking 2 in the yellow tree for those 2 slots for era transition. But hey, welcome changes. Anything to make the AI more potent, right?
Economy.
Towns with a trade outpost focus now grant the plus 5 trade range to all of your other settlements, and not just from themselves. Developer note: this change makes it easier to build roads to connect your towns to your cities with merchants if you have a few trade outposts.
This is huge actually, because now it makes those trade outposts viable. You can stack them is what this. You couldn't stack them. You only could make this kind of a forward operating base, maybe on an island, that help it out. But now you can stack them, so if you got a town that isn't near the enemy, it can still help you get merchants out to the enemy, which is great, because the meta is you get each merchant slot you can send, because it'll give you gold, and that's the way you should primarily get gold, not through zones.
Outposts. Sawmills now properly grant production to camps. Grocers no longer grant food bonuses on mines and woodcutters. Addressed a reported issue where Ironworks was not granting production bonuses on mines and woodcutters. Added a +1 production bonus on mountains.
Right, so warehouse bonus is being bugging a bit. That's just bug fixes, which is great. Because now it gives... it buffs out the ageless buildings here.
Mountains. Repairs can no longer be purchased without having enough gold.
Yeah, this was an exploit I might have used a bit too much. You could just repair everything on each town you had with broken things. Go minus 100k on gold, and all it would do is take one of your units away. Usually the most expensive, so a ship of the line early modern era. It is very, very good. Very, very good.
Gold. Players now correctly receive discounted prices when purchasing buildings that have been discounted. Purchases can no longer be made in a town with unrest. Resolved an issue where the fish resource was decreasing the amount of food needed for a settlement's next growth event to negative.
Yeah, that was a huge bug, and again, made the meta that you don't even need to focus on food in the capital, because all you need is fish. You just need a factory and fish, right? So as getting any exploits out that buffs the rest of the metas, the rest of the builds, is great. Here again, was weird bugs. You wouldn't give a discounted price for any building when you buy in a certain situation, and then even if you're in unrest, you'd buy. And this was the ability that Bolivar got. That's good. That's good.
Negative. The production queue properly updates when multiple wonders are in the queue and another civilization completes a wonder first. Walls granted by the Bursa Wonder are now properly granted on all eligible tiles.
Cool. This might be more than it says, but yeah, production queue with wonders and buildings, it just doesn't work, right? It just doesn't work. It didn't work. Hopefully it'll now work, so you can actually queue up buildings and wonders. I found that only units can be properly queued. It'll just pop the UI up anyway if you something. I'm not sure what happens.
Civilization 7 game up.
Let's go back. Where was we? Here.
The sabotage space program espionage action now completes as intended. Crises. Revolution's crisis now applies the correct amount of unhappiness after players choose a new revolutionary government. Military. Scorched Earth policy changed from +5 combat strength for all units when attacking to +3 combat strength for all units when attacking.
Yeah, this again. I'll take the everything from +5 to +3, because you can stack them +5. You'll be up at 25 quite comfortably. So yeah, it's good that they're nerfing the combat strength, and it'll make the game harder against AI as well.
Attacking. Pure better units now correctly gain +5 combat strength versus fortified districts. Scout units no longer stack the +1 sight range bonus after unpacking from a commander with the initiative promotion.
Yeah, that's
Natural wonders. Torres del Paine changed from units that move adjacent to Torres del Paine ignore rough terrain to +1 food and production on tundra terrain in this settlement.
Yeah. I love the Valley of Flowers, but yeah, that's good for Catherine. And the restart button, you're gonna have a few people looking for that optimal Catherine's restart, right?
Increase the spawn rate of the Valley of Flowers. Independent powers.
Actually, yeah.
Naval units can no longer disperse independent villages while a unit is defending the village.
Exploitable
Emporium and monastery unique improvements now stack yields correctly when multiple are built in the same city.
Cool.
Civilopedia. Added and updated several entries.
Oh, this is
addressed
huge.
Issues.
Because the Civilopedia looks quite barren at the moment, as does the wiki button. We'll get there, because of course you want a place where you can reference the whole game.
Issues. Resolved a reported issue that could occur when exiting to the main menu too quickly while creating a new game. UI. Notifications.
So yeah, that's for the gameplay. Welcome balances. Welcome balances, I'd say that. And there's a lot of them. There's this is a long patch notage, right? And we're only at this is a minor patch, I think, because it's 1.1.1. the .1 suffix. This is a minor patch. If this is a minor patch, I want to see what the DLC looks like, right? So let's check the UI.
Notifications. Added new district under attack
that
notification.
looked
Players
already.
are now correctly notified when a pact commander was attacked.
That's good.
Notifications
as well.
now properly play their animations at the start of a new turn.
Good.
Increase the speed at which notifications appear during gameplay.
Good.
Added additional watchout/advisor notifications to help with making treasure fleets. New watchouts will appear for when you're missing shipbuilding tech or a fishing quay.
That's a good one because people did not realize this at first. You need a harbor district to get those out. Like I said before, your guys are getting attacked. You don't even realize them. So these are very welcome changes.
Gui.
Text changes. Resolved various reported text and formatting issues.
Yeah.
Several instances of missing text have been addressed.
Good.
Alignment and spacing. Improve the alignment and ordering of tutorial pop-ups. Improve the alignment for the resume and restart buttons in the pause menu. Commander level text is now centered when reaching a double-digit promotion level during gameplay. Improve the spacing between the unit icon and flag and the number representing a commander's level. The quit button in the main menu no longer overlaps the images in the carousel.
These updates, although they don't affect the gameplay that much or at all, these are the ones people focus on when they're criticizing the game. Oh, the game looks so unfinished. Yeah, it's missing a bit of polish, but still. Maybe we'll see at Riga.
Carousel. Tooltips. Added specialist info to plot tooltips. Added neutral relationship icon and improved relationship tooltip readability.
Yeah, that's the minus on the relationships now, which is good. I mean, guess if they were neutral without any icon, you could kind of derive that. But I mean, yeah, it's more legible. It's cool.
Readability. Resource type is now displayed with both icons and tooltips, both in map and in the resource screen.
Good.
Controller specific. Espionage report pop-up now properly appears when attempting to open it via controller during gameplay. Controllers now respond correctly after opening the progress menu in the Choose Civilization menu. Trade lens will now change back to none when the user closes the trade lens during gameplay when using a controller. Controller no longer loses focus on the city-state bonus menu while a unit is selected. Players using a controller can now properly select government choices when opening the Choose a Government screen via the Turn Advancer, even if a unit is selected.
Yeah, I got no pop in the kennel regarding this. Never tested out the controllers, but maybe I should. There's one thing on the controller. You can cycle through your units with a controller, but not with a keyboard and mouse, which is, I mean, blows my mind. Why? So maybe they shouldn't actually do controller specific things, just overall. But yeah, let's see these are minors, but let's just see. Let's run through them.
General. Settlements and commander names can now be customized. Added a trade lens that displays trade route information without requiring a merchant unit to be selected. Now able to send merchants to settlements directly from the trade route panel.
Yeah, so we went through this. It opens it up. So you can send the merchant to the settlement, which is the merchant, not the trade route. So, okay, you'll walk there automatically, which is good.
Panel. The unit action tray is expanded by default to show all available unit actions.
Yes, good.
Improved visibility on unit and district health bars and on unit flags. Added crisis indicators to Age Progress UI to indicate activation/increase points. Hide turns until growth UI when a town has a focus and thus will not be growing.
Huh? But they grow even if it has a focus. But all right.
Growing. Pause menu is now expanded and reorganized to better show all options.
Yeah, that's
Addressed a reported issue where the production panel would not refresh properly when purchasing in a settlement. Updated the description for the change capital legacy card to more accurately reflect the functionality. The government selection screen now appears correctly on ultra-wide monitors. Unit portraits appear correctly after opening and closing the diplomacy menu. Settlement yields now correctly update in the building placement menu instead of displaying the previously selected settlements yields. Army Commander's progress bar now updates properly in the unit panel when gaining experience. The Wondrous banner now appears properly. The privacy policy page now appears properly. Economic advisor portrait now appears correctly in the Antiquity age. Learn More prompt now functions correctly when attempting to select it for unknown civs. Addressed a reported issue where buildings, wonders, and improvements did not display in the production menu, preventing a player from placing anything other than units in their settlements. The town unrest slider can no longer go negative.
All right, good.
Several fixes for UI and HUD elements not appearing as intended. Added unique icons for various great works. The war weariness score will no longer be falsely attributed to a different leader during a first meet. Addressed a reported issue where the unit panel would be missing when the player selects and closes the unit panel multiple times. Addressed a reported issue where the X button could lose functionality when transitioning to the next stage. The theology civic now correctly appears in the choose civic list after the player founds a religion. The input icon now appears correctly during the legacy progress tutorial. Addressed a reported issue where the remaining turns displayed in the town is in unrest menu were not consistent with the actual number of turns remaining. The Civilopedia entry for Prussia's unique infrastructure, Staatseisenbahn, now displays correctly. Xerxes' banner art has been updated. Applied more historically accurate icons to Han's Sherdafu and Ming's Mandarin. The commander promotion menu now displays correctly in windowed mode.
They're all minors. Minors, Bob. Pack them together, that'll make the whole game look more good, more intuitive, and make the whole experience more smooth. So yeah, big ups for, the amount of UI updates we've got now. The game's been out for a month, and it's starting to look real good. I knew we had potential, but now I got a real good game. Can't wait to see all the changes firsthand. So let's see, we got narratives. Yeah, let's just run through these last ones.
Mode. Narrative. The following events can now be triggered. Legacy of the Ancients. Sickness in the Air. The Song of the Scholar. Central Autocracy. Training Day. Children of the Sky. Change the completion requirement text to Schoolhouse instead of School. Lessons of the Land. Event now starts correctly if Catherine played as Greece in the Antiquity Age. Enduring Love. Reward tooltip now properly displays after hovering over the option button. The Army Soul. The first option of the event can now be completed when playing as Spain. The Sting of Iron. Reward tooltips now properly display when hovering over the option buttons. Besiege and Conquer. The first option reward tooltip now displays the correct reward information. A Mass for the Masses. Removed redundant happiness icon in the first option. Opening Night. Chariots are now properly granted the combat bonus after selecting the Hold a Staged Battle event option. The Moving Lake. Event will now only trigger if a unit dies in a storm on a desert tile. Neither Friend nor Foe. Event will now correctly trigger when relationship with another civ rises to neutral. Military Report. Production bonus reward is now only granted to howitzer units instead of all units. The Bane of Tanks. Guns are now properly granted the combat strength bonus reward for the second option. Nature of Nature. The event will now trigger correctly after building a museum and an opera house. A Shared World. Event now rewards the correct amount of yield. I am fond of dogs / I am fond of pigs / I am fond of cows. Events can now no longer be triggered simultaneously. Will of Ares. Event rewards will be granted correctly. The Rains Come. Event rewards will be granted correctly. Discovery event yield cost text now updated to state percentage of costs. Corrected historical inaccuracies in the Hermitage entry of the Civilopedia. Clarified the text for steps 1 and 2 of the Enlightenment Legacy Path. Miscellaneous.
The narratives, it's good that fixing them if they weren't working, but yeah. Looks a lot, but there are loads of narratives in the game.
Miscellaneous. The Continue button now loads manual saves that are more recent than the last autosave.
Yeah, I like that.
Improved crane animations on ports and quarries. Added more detail in vegetated tundra tiles.
That's good.
Addressed a reported issue when the player moved the camera with both a controller and keyboard at the same time.
Oof.
Fixes made to terrain seams on AMD GPUs.
Cool.
Screen mode should now properly update when players change from windowed to full screen while using Alt+Enter or the F11 key. Addressed a reported issue where players could join a multiplayer game mid-countdown when using a join code. Addressed a reported issue where game settings were sometimes not saved and options did not revert when selecting cancel changes.
Yeah, this is something I actually experienced. Manually saving the game options file, fixed this. But no, it should be fixed together.
Changes. Console.
Onto console.
PlayStation.
Not sure about it.
Improve the alignment of the options button in the UI to avoid overlapping other UI elements. The tooltip of each civilization will now correctly display next to the civ icon on the Choose Age and Civilization tab. Improved controller input flows and prompts for the UI when using a controller. An in-game notification now informs the player that a quick save was created. Resolved a visual issue with Ashoka, World Renouncer's model in the main menu. Switch. Improve the translations on several pieces of localized text.
macOS.
Unit routes can now be placed quickly using right-click functions. Linux, macOS. Fix cursor issues on macOS and Linux. Steam, Steam Deck. Fixed several input flows and prompts for the UI when using a controller. Crossroads of the World.
So that's the real patch. Now this is just this is Battle Pass DLC after this. So what we got is Simon Bolivar, right? So let's just actually read through those. I'll give my thoughts after.
Collection asterisk, DLC 4-6. Leaders. Crossroads of the World DLC asterisk, added new leader, Simón Bolívar. As the Napoleonic Wars weakened Spain's presence in the Americas, Simón Bolívar, El Libertador, led forces to liberate the region. With tenacity and charisma, he led his armies to victory and the people to independence. The instability of newfound freedom proved difficult to overcome. First president and then dictator of Gran Colombia, he failed to fully enact his ambitions. Yet Bolívar remains an enduring example of South American defiance. Attributes: expansionist, militaristic. Unique ability: El Libertador, gain a free amount of support on your wars. When you conquer a settlement for the first time, it can purchase a building for free. Can purchase items when in the unrest status. Agenda: cornerstone of freedom, increase relationship by a medium amount for having the least unhappy settlements. Decrease relationship by a small amount for the leader with the most amount of unhappy settlements. Civilizations. Crossroads of the World DLC asterisk, added new exploration age civilization Bulgaria. In the 7th century, the Bulgars crossed the Danube and made the Balkans their own. Their warriors used the mountains to their advantage, scattering larger armies through skill and stratagems. The First Bulgarian Empire ran on conquest, expansion, and the growth of trade. The Second Empire saw the rise of art, literature, and architecture alongside spirituality and monastic traditions. All came crashing down when the Ottomans invaded. Attributes: militaristic, expansionist. Unique ability: Crumb's Dynasty, receive food in all towns when pillaging improvements equal to a percentage of the HP or yields gained. Unique civilian unit: Tarkhan, unique commander unit. Unique military unit: Bolyer, unique cavalry unit. Associated wonder: Rila Monastery. Crossroads of the World DLC asterisk, added new modern age civilization Nepal. Nestled high in the Himalayas and incorporating both highland Buddhist and lowland Hindu populations, Nepal has clung to its sovereignty despite its precarious location. 19th century Nepal was governed by an autocratic group of families and guarded by the fierce Gurkha warriors. Following an agreement with the British, they maintained a degree of independence at the crown of the world. Attributes: diplomatic, cultural. Unique ability: roof of the world. All warehouse buildings apply to mountain tiles, but they cost increased food and happiness maintenance. Unique civilian unit: Sherpa, unique scout unit. Unique military unit: Gurkha, unique infantry unit. Associated wonder: Buddhanath. Asterisk.
Yo, that's the full patch notes. I mean, huge patch. Let's get our thoughts on. I like Bolivar here because seems little. The buffs they get. This will be huge for antiquity age, full-on military rush, right? And you can even buy in the unrest status, so you can get your towns. You can get your towns producing the yield you want as fast as possible, right? And you get a war support bonus as well. So it's good. It's a good buff, I think. But yeah, cool. And Bulgaria, looking into this one, the receiving food for pillaging can be used probably for some exploitative gameplay. Let's put it this way. But I like it. They got a unique commander as well. Those I like, and a unique cavalry in exploration. So they're gonna be just these two will make it OP. The cavalry uses no movement for pillaging, which is along with getting food for pillaging. It's huge. I didn't check what the unique commander does, but a nice addition. Like him. Oh, the Nepal one though, they got a unique scout, modern era. I mean, okay, useless unit. and a unique infantry unit again, modern era, where infantry isn't that good. So yeah, all right, but going if you're playing Inca, I think this is the obvious choice if you're going for a mountain build. But yeah, I mean, huge notes. It took me 50 minutes to record this, so I mean, huge notes. I'll hop on in. Is it 50 minutes when it arrives? Yeah, the game's looking real good. I'm real pleased with the update. Gotta be renaming my cities. Man, love it. The devs are doing great work. That is what I can say. I guess the release date wasn't thought out by the devs, but now we got an actual nice product on our hands. Can't wait to get into 1.1.1. But hey, if you're here still, thanks a lot for watching. I'll catch you.